Hi mages, welcome to today's MTG Arena gameplay video. Today we are focusing on one of my zero rare decks known as Boros Burn. This is a deck that is just consisting of common cards and uncommon cards with no rares in sight, basic lands, and everything about this deck is totally budget. Hopefully it appeals to new players, beginner players or just budget players, or if you just like to play something a little bit different and not have to spend too many of those rare wild cards for you. Now the idea of this deck is to play with an aggro mindset. It is all about doing as much damage as you can to your opponent as quickly as possible. It is predominantly a red deck but does splash white for Lightning Helix, which does 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. It's just such a good spell that I feel like, adding white to this deck is really worth it for the benefits that you get from the Helix, and it can certainly win games and save you in games as well. The only other splash of white in here is a single copy of Destroy Evil. Destroying target creature with toughness 4 or greater is great against Sheoldred and a lot like Atali, Atraxas, anything like that, and also has destroyed target enchantment as well, so has a dual purpose, but really the main splash of white for this is for the Helix. The rest of the package is some good creatures that work well with spells like Monastery Swiftspear for its prowess, Kessig Flame Breather for when you cast non-creature spells, it does extra damage to opponent. We then have Voldor and Epicure that can come in and do 1 damage, much like Kumanu comes in and does 1 damage. So it's not just in the burn spells like Play with Fire, Lightning Strike and also Lightning Helix. We have ways and other ways of creatures and permanents that can come in and do damage as well, and that is really what it's all about. Getting your opponent's life from 20 to 0 as quickly as you can. Now up and coming is some gameplay, so I hope you enjoy that to showcase the deck, see what it's about. Full deck list will be in the description below as well, and if you'd like a more in-depth and look at some of the other zero rare decks that I did, there is a link to a video down below as well that you can go and check out them after this one as well. But sit back and enjoy the gameplay. So here we go for the first game of today's gameplay video. Opening hand is not looking too bad. Got a couple of Kessigs there, with a few spells as well, which is nice. And we got both lands, which is always good when you're playing a budget deck, is to have at least both the types of lands sometimes. But as we know, this deck is predominantly a red deck. So when you've got, your opening hand, sometimes it is best if you've got 2 mountains, 3 mountains. You can potentially still keep it as long as you don't have like a handful of Lightning Helix. Now looks like the opponent is playing Toxic, so we know Toxic can be really quick, so the idea of this game is we need to be quicker. Opponent straight away kills one of our Flame Breathers, but lucky for us we have another 2 in hand, so the next play is literally just to replay the Kessig and try and eat up some of the opponent's removal. We do know that these colours have a premium amount of removal in standard, just so much of it that the likelihood is that they're going to be able to kill our creatures. But there is big bad Sheoldred. Now we're not going to kill that, but luckily we do have in hand a Rebel Salvo, which is in there to deal with Sheoldred mainly. Sheoldred is like the bane of many decks. Should it have been banned already? I don't think so, because like that it can be easily killed sometimes. Just because a card is good sometimes doesn't mean it should be banned, but there's definitely a case for it, maybe for the amount of decks that do play it. But yeah, again, our opponent, we lose another Flame Breather. We still have 1 in hand and have drawn another creature as well. Poison is at 3, but opponent's down to 1 card in hand, so if they get lucky on the land draws, then they might be able to play their enchantment. But we're just going to keep playing our creatures. Potentially, the move might be just to remove the Skull Dweller, because we're at 3. But yeah, again, like I say, opponent has more removal. And then draws into a Preacher, which is a very good draw for opponent. Now, we have to decide whether I think just to get rid of the Preacher is the play here, because it can, make creatures with lifelink, it can draw cards. So I made the decision, let's get it off. Poison counters are still manageable at 4. We're going to put opponent down to 13, so the clock is suddenly turning for our opponent. They do find another land, so they're 1 land away from playing the enchantment, and unfortunately we draw another land, which isn't great, but we're just going to do more damage. Opponent down to 10, leaving the land in hand. Don't know why I did that. Maybe, you know, playing a bit of mind games, thinking there is another spell in my hand, which is sometimes good to do. Now, this Spear will come in with counters, which is nice. We could attack here. The Lone Speaker won't kill any of our creatures, but now the poison counters are getting to 6. Our opponent really did want that land draw because they managed to play their Virtue. So, this will flip. Play with Fire. Could be done to the dome here. I'm just going all in attack. Now, there is a case where it could have been made where I could have maybe killed the Skull Weller first. But trying to see if we can, you know, put some real pressure on our opponent. Now, looking at, you know, there's not much going to come from the graveyard. We top draw a Helix there. We're getting in for the damage, and now we have lethal. So I took a chance there that opponent wasn't going to get the extra poison counters. We're on 14 life, so we're not really going to die that way. Sheoldred does come into play, which was a bit of life gain. And then they top draw an Obliterator, which is just really powerful. But, to be honest, it makes no difference. Helix from the top. GG's. Game 1 down. So as we head on to game 2 here, not a terrible first opening hand here. We've got Epicure that can come in, creature damage. We've got a Helix, and we do have the planes as well. Card draw with Ren's Resolve and a Rebel Salvo to deal with anything awkward like Sheoldred in the previous game as well. So all in all, a pretty good hand to start this second match with. Kumanu played first, because then the Epicure, potentially another turn 2 creature, can come in with a counter, and it starts off the damage, which is obviously what this deck is all about. Now, a Plaza being played over there, a Cavern of Souls, 2 very powerful rare lands. We draw another Epicure, more damage, and with the enchantment that's going to flip as well, we're then, you know, we're posing some pressure here, attacking for 5, removal in hand. So he can potentially deal with something. We're obviously playing a human deck. Gwenna comes in. 3 toughness on that is good for us. We can actually go in with Monastery Swiftspear here. Kill the creature. Big attack straight in. Triggering the prowess. And then we are going in for 7 more damage. Opponent's life total now is cut in half. So, very good. Worried about a Wrath here. If anything comes in. I'm not too sure of the land base. They've got 2 Cavern of Souls. I mean, the land base is a little bit awkward. A 4/4 comes in. No worries. Rebel Salvo. Straight there doing the job again. And then after this attack, we do have Lightning Helix in hand for that deck. Now, remember, we did add in Lightning Helix in this deck. Splashing in the white. Literally for that. A lifelink creature coming in. Makes no difference. Lightning Helix for the win again. Another quick win against a human-based deck, and GG's. So we're into gold now. Season reset a few days ago from recording this. So we're back up to going in up the ladder, which is good. We're playing Gold Digger. Very interesting name in gold. Hand is not too bad. We've got the mountains and the plains. Various turn 1 plays here. Kumanu, Swiftspear, Epicure. In comes another Cavern, but this time we do see a turn 1 play. So the idea, maybe go straight in with an attack with Swiftspear because the opponent's creature is a 1/1. But I decided to go into Epicure because we can play Swiftspear and attacking with Epicure, maybe play a turn 2 Kumano as well. We've got the double red ready. No special lightning helix in hand just yet. So we could go double Kumano here, which is a way I think of doing it, which means then the Monetary Swiss Spear next turn will be even bigger, because when this goes to Law Count 2, creature comes in with an extra counter. Now a big Monetary Swiss Spear is very nice for that. That makes it, you know, a bit more of a threat. It is a very good enchantment, this. For 1 mana, it does a hell of a lot. You see it in most red decks, most aggro red decks. Opponent thinking about what they want to do here. They do have a War Leader's Call. Now, this is a very, very strong Boros deck. Now, we are red splashing white Boros. The War Leader's Call does put a threat onto us. If they start playing tokens, you know, it makes it quite hard sometimes to keep up with this sort of deck. But we're going straight in, attacking the opponent for 4, putting them down to 11. So we're winning this race, and we're flipping 2 creatures next turn with Kumano. I decided to add a bit more into there, get rid of this, because it does add life links. Our opponents do get life every time a creature comes in, and we want to keep that down as much as we can. So deciding to get out of the way, I think, was probably the best option. This will showcase how good War Leader's Call is, and it's definitely an option to add a bit more white and add into the deck. Gleeful is very good when you've got artifacts and stuff like that, and it means they have a lot of blockers now. Now we're at 13, so we're getting tight as well. We literally just have to find burn now, or ways to do damage. We've got another Monetary Swiss Spear. We've got Ren's Resolve in there as well. We get to play them to the end of the next turn. So decisions have to be made. Do we attack in? Opponent is 9. They probably are going to have to block, because we have so much go. You know, they're on 9 life. So I decided to attack with a 3, leaving back 1 blocker. So it is threats. Now they could go and try and kill the Monetary Swiss Spear. Opponent decides not to and goes to a very scary 5 life. Now, with what's in our hand, it's not too bad. We go with Epicure, put them to 4. We now have 2 blockers. So with 3 life, you think they, you know, they're not going to really smash a load of tokens in to do the War Leader's Call. And we're in, you know, we're in a pretty strong position. If we can draw burn a Helix or something like that, then that turns out to be pretty good for us. If we just draw lands, it's very good for our opponent. Opponent goes in with one of the best commons coming from that set, Novice Inspector. Very good interaction with Gleeful. Opponent decides not to attack as well, which is pretty decent for us. Unfortunately, we do draw another land. But we go with Swiss Spear, and we can then play the Ren's Resolve to trigger the prowess with this. And hopefully draw some nice cards. And unfortunately, it was 2 lands. So, major whiff from that. No point really attacking with the 1/1s. We need to keep them back to protect ourselves from attacks as well. But we have to really attack with our 4/5. Opponent does have 2 mana open. Flash is in reinforcements. That will come in as 2/2/2s. Hitting our damage down to 10. This game is getting very, very close. Now kind of thinking, why did I attack? But we've got to keep the pressure on. So double blocks coming here. Single block. Triple block coming for the Monetary Swiss Spear. So we are going to be able to get rid of 2 of them. Leave the Novice Inspector back on the field. Because it's best to take out 2. And then we take out 1 of these. So 2 creatures for opponents, 2 creatures for us. So barring any type of mass removal for them, we will be able to stop attacks. Opponent is still on 4. which is, you know, not great for us, but we do have those 2 blood tokens sitting over there. So if we draw another land, we can then flip it and then try and draw another one. And hopefully draw a burn spell. As you can see, I'm looking at this deck. There's a lot of rares in this type. Obviously, we're 0 rare, so it's a massive difference in type of deck. You know, the land base is where we update this. If you do want to update this, in comes the very big regal bunnycorn. Big 6/6, just a vanilla creature. It doesn't have any trample or anything like that, so easily blocked by a 1/1. Clue token to draw cards for opponent. And we've got those 2 mountains, which is not great. That's 7 lands. More than we would really need for this deck. We draw a Swiftspear. Swiftspear isn't really going to get the job done. It might add as another blocker, which is okay because there is a Regal Bunnycorn there. But I think what we need to do is try and find the burn if we can. So spin the wheel, draw a card. Rebel Salvo does damage. You know, it's not big enough to kill the Regal. We could attack in. But I think the option again is to try and find something different because we're definitely, even though we're on 9 life and opponent's only on 4, we're not winning this match at the moment. Helix helps a lot. So we could probably, you know, take an attack from opponent. They're thinking they're killing us. We then have Lightning Helix to save us a bit of life and then see what we top draw. So at the moment we do have opponent at potential 1 life. Depending on obviously what they draw and what happens in attacks. How many triggers they can get with the War Leader's Call. What I don't really want to see here is like a mass token generator. The Venerated over there as well. The creature over on their side of the board can gain life and then when their creatures die. Epicure comes in. That's 2 damage. So we're down to 7. So it is all about timing when we're playing the Lightning Helix here. It's a very good game, this one. Really does showcase the deck and the opponent's deck as well. I've not really seen Bunnycorns played in this version of any version of War Leader's Call. But it's the big Convoke. Comes in. Now opponent is tapped out. But they are going to get to look at more creatures. And ping us for another bit of damage as well. So we're down to 6. Opponent with Bunnycorn. They've got good attacks here, but opponent decides not to attack, which I thought was very weird. Then this gives us a chance now. We're up to 9. We need a cracking top draw. Unfortunately, it's not that. It is Rebel Salvo, which is not really what we want, but we can kill the Knight Errant. Which does stop some kind of attacks. We don't really want opponent gaining life. So they draw a land. That's not too bad. Novice Inspector comes in, but it does give the ability for more card draw. Pings us again. War Leader's Call. Such a great card. Still with the Luna over there. Massive creatures, only down to 8 life. They sacrifice to draw a card. I mean, possibly they're looking for removal for Epicure. But I did feel like opponent played this one very safe. This is the creature that I was talking about, the Luminous. We're going to kill a creature now. The Knight Errant, just so they don't gain that extra bit of life. And obviously he could have attacked. So down to 7. We're not winning another attack. We have to draw either card draw or another Epicure or a Lightning Strike. We top drawed. GG's. The Lightning Strike. Opponent maybe held back a little bit too much. Let me know what you think in the comments of that one. I think they did a little bit, but we played our game and we took down the win. So here we go, on to our next game. Opening hand, looks like a mono red hand. Not too bad at all. Monstrous Despair, Epicure, card draw and removal and 3 lands. So that to me, very good hand. In comes a red-black land. Could be the dreaded Rakdos. Very powerful deck, Rakdos. One of the most expensive decks currently in Standard. Duress, opening hand, probably taking our card draw. So that was pretty rough. We draw another land. Certainly another land is not needed on this one. We don't want to get too flooded out, especially against this deck. We need to be drawing spells straight away. Otherwise, you know, Sheoldra could come down, and then it's basically GG's very quickly. Preacher. I mean, Preacher's okay. We do have Rebel Salvo, so it's definitely something we can deal with. Finding the planes isn't that bad there. I mean, I know it's another land, but then it's followed by another land. Not really helping us this game. Look to be getting severely flooded as a burn deck with 3 lands on the field and 3 lands in hand. Things aren't looking great. And I'm definitely already starting to think the writing's going to be on the wall. Although we do have opponent down to 14 life. But I'm just expecting Shelly now. And not Shelly, but a card that can gain life if we have the creatures in the yard. Now, we don't then. Kessig is actually a pretty good draw. But we have no good attacks here. Our 1-2 and 1-1 with no spell going into a 3-3 is not great. And if we do decide to block here, which we won't do because it's a single attack. We could just block with an Epicure, stop a bit of damage, but we're still on the 20 life, which is not too bad. Opponent doesn't follow up any play, but yet again we draw another land. So you can see what's happening on this game. Any sort of spells, I think we could have probably, you know, kept in this game a little bit better. But the flip Trespasser is definitely going to do some work. We're doing 3 damage a turn. Opponent's going to be doing 4. Opponent decided to take the damage, kill one of our creatures. And typical in Rakdos fashion, having all of the removal. And I give them, oh, that's nice. And now the writing's definitely on the wall in this game. Opponent now gets to get rid of creatures, gain life, drain life, coming in for 4. Now the tables have swung round. Opponent has drawn, I mean, we draw another land. And you can imagine just how rage-inducing I'm getting as I'm recording this video gameplay now. Opponent has drawn their fair share of land as well. I mean, they're sitting over there with 6 lands. But they've drawn a creature land, so that's not too bad for them. Coming in again, 6 damage. Kind of thinking, am I the aggro deck or is my opponent the aggro deck now? Can we really go to 4? Not much in hand. Feel like we have to block the 4-4. But we're on such low life now. A Destroy Evil is nice, so we can actually get rid of the graveyard. We have to discard a card here, but it doesn't matter. We've got another land. We can easily just discard that. That's going to go into the bin. So, opponent still has 3 cards in hand. We have 0. These games just happen sometimes. They all happen to everyone. You get severely overflooded. It still would have been a very hard match to win. But opponent didn't draw loads, but they did draw lots of removal. But these creature lands are very good for when you don't draw anything. You can still keep, you know, if you just got removal, you can keep attacking in. Then that's a discarded Liliana the Veil over there. We draw a play with fire. We could do 2 to the dome, maybe scry and find something else, but There's not much more we can do in this game. In comes a big 4/4 lifelinker. That really is the writing on the wall now. We've got a Helix on top. Not much we can do. Barely stay into the game. No reason to do that in their upkeep whatsoever. But I did. I mean, opponent's down to 9. We're on 9. They can attack us for 6, though, with the creature land. I think opponent was waiting for us here thinking, just why are you not quitting? I'm clearly going to win this game. But yeah, we didn't draw too much in this game, but Rakdos, like I say, good hard deck to beat. Good game, opponent. We know we're gone now. They got the draw discard. And that is GG's. Into the final game now. This is our open hand. We've got 2 lands. We have Swiss Spear, we have Epicure, not too bad. We've got the planes ready to play Lightning Helix as well. And we get to see Invasion of Regatha, which we haven't seen in the video, which is a nice spell. 4 damage, 1 to a potential creature or something like that. Going in with Swiss Spear here, turn 1. Because we do have 2 spells in Lightning Helix that potentially plays a flip if we need to as well. But still, going in with a Swiss Spear for 1, and then into Epicure to start building up a bit of a presence on board. And a nice blood token, which those blood tokens are really good. Epicure is actually a very good creature for this deck. I like that opponent plays tapped, but I'm looking at the lands thinking this must be some kind of ramp. Maybe a Tali, a Traxxas deck, so we know we have to win quick. 4 damage really helps. Then coming in for a further 3. Opponent is down to 10 already. Expecting some kind of removal now. Herd Migration, very annoying for this deck. So discard, reveal the land, but it's the 3 life that really hurts us. I mean, that's like they've just saved themselves from the Lightning Helix. Definitely keeping back the Destroy Evil here because they will have some massive creatures. I keep deciding to go to the opponent's head here just because we need to win quick. I know that we're getting in there. Opponent down to 6. As much damage as we can. We do that spell now because we could hit a Depopulate or something like that. So we might as well get the extra damage with Swiss Spear. A Persistence. Okay. Opponent goes down to 8. Up to 8, sorry. More life gain. Very, very annoying, this deck. It's hard to beat this deck when they get going, but we draw another Regatha, which is really good. We can get opponent down. I was thinking about maybe attacking there, but I just feel like against this deck we're playing, you have to just keep going to the dome. Like, last resort is going for them. They're really in there for the 4 damage. Opponent down to 5 now. We have 1 piece of removal in hand. Invasion of Alara drops into the field, which we can deal with potentially. If they put something, decent into play, we can deal with what they put into play. It's a familiar. More milling going in. A Carfarb. A Traxxas comes in. Painful. Very painful. But they're not going to be able to attack with it, which is what we need to do. We kept the Destroy Evil in hand. And a top draw Lightning Strike is GG's here. So Lightning Helix won't do it because we have to use the Destroy Evil on our 1 white land. But if a Traxxas gets to attack, then it's basically GG's. The life swing is just going to be far too much. So good that we've got this card in hand. We draw a Ren's Resolve, which is nice because it's card draw. We have to destroy a Traxxas straight off. Opponent's going to go down to 3. And then hopefully there's no more life gain. And we get good spells with Ren's Resolve. Demand Answers is not terrible because we got artifacts there to sack to draw 2 more cards. Opponent can gain more life though. Another invasion. Looks like the writing could be on the wall here. I saw an Atali go into the yard there. That's always quite scary. They get a play with fire from us. Which, taking out a creature is probably good. They get to play Luca and take out one of our creatures. But we do have the card draw to find, hopefully, that all-important bit of damage. Now, there's a land. So we managed to, we've got Blood Token to draw as well. We're going to sacrifice the artifact. How's our luck? Well, there's 2 damage. We've got Kumanu there. We've got Voldigot. We can get opponent to 1. But we can use that Blood Token. We do have a Blood Token there. To maybe discard. It is, you know, you do have to think about what we do. It does give us another blocker, which is good. But giving our opponent those extra turns is just never, it never seems like a good result for us. So I think we have to try and draw into something else. And from the top, King of the Top draws, Lightning Strike comes in for our 0 rare deck to take down the massive Domain Ramp. So there was some gameplay as requested from the 0 rare Boros Burn deck. Now this deck, as you can see from the gameplay, can get its fair share of wins. Even against some of the top meta decks, which is really good. I love to see that. With the right opening hand, I mean, the game we lost, we actually got really flooded against Rakdos. Whether we could have won that or not, you'd have to look into to see if we could. I mean, chances are sometimes you'll win, sometimes you lose, but I'm not using that as an excuse, but we did draw a lot of land, but whether we still would have won, they had a fair amount of lifelink in there. I still think we probably should, you know, probably would have lost. But the deck performs very well, so you can build it with confidence. You've seen how it plays. Take it through some lower ranks and see how far you can get with it, and let me know down below in the comments. If you've enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help circulate the videos to everyone that's here, that's new here, that's, you know, the 0 rare videos do bring in a lot of new viewers, so welcome to Total MTG for that. If you want to go that extra bit further, becoming a Patreon, link down below, and you can get any of these cards in paper, take them to your FNM and smash them with 0 rare decks by looking at my Cardmarket sponsors down below. But anyway, you lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.